Hey everybody, I'm pretty excited because I'm here with what could be the best picture quality ever. This is Sony's A95 QD-OLED TV, brand new for 2022. I'm just getting my first look at it right now. Let's check it out. So the real claim to fame of QD-OLED is that it improves on current OLED TV technology. Now that's a big boast because OLED is my favorite television technology already. LG, Sony, Vizio, a few other manufacturers use current generation called WRGB OLED. So we're here in Sony's offices in New York. This is the first time that we've seen this. Now I'll start by saying this is a pre-production early prototype sample. So this is not the same as what you're going to see in stores in a couple of months, but it is as close as Sony has right now that they could show me. So they sat me down, we did a demo of a few of these TVs. We also have the last generation, Sony's A90J OLED to compare, and Sony's reference monitor. So sitting in front of all these displays, it really got a pretty good impression of the improvements of QD-OLED. So the biggest improvement that I saw was in color. So QD-OLED has no filter. That means that there's nothing between the light emission technology, the OLED, and the screen itself. It really is a pure RGB technology. The advantage, according to Sony and according to my eyes, is that you do get that color purity. So the biggest difference was in reds. Looking at red material in test patterns, and especially in the program material that Sony had, you really saw a deeper red, a more realistic color of red. The color difference also extrapolated into other colors too. So you saw the greens and blues looked a little bit better, and the overall color brightness was a little bit better too. Now, I'll couch this by saying this is not my lab. This is Sony's own environment with their own hand-picked test material, so I'll reserve my final judgment, but the initial impressions, colors really darn good. The other thing that they showed me was off-angle viewing. So if you walk around to the side of the television, you can actually see that the color stays more pure. Now, standard OLED is also really good from off-angle, much better than any LCD technology. The difference is not gigantic between QD-OLED and standard OLED there, but it's still something to note. So another improvement that Sony showed me is in film grain. So when you're watching a material that was shot on film or that has artificial film grain added, it's a kind of like noisy look that filmmakers want to create. The QD-OLED actually showed a little bit less film grain, a little bit more natural look, again, closer to that reference monitor that they had on hand. Now, a couple of the differences that I didn't see when watching QD-OLED, it didn't look substantially brighter than standard OLED. So if you have a really bright room, you need to compete against ambient light, that's not going to be a huge difference. And speaking of ambient light, the QD-OLED screen was just a little bit grayer. It wasn't quite as deep and black under harsh ambient light that we have right now. So I don't really recommend a lot of people watch in this kind of lighting, but if you do have a very bright room and you're very cognizant of getting that absolute best black level in those bright rooms, QD-OLED might have a slight disadvantage compared to the standard OLED. Again, that's something that I'll test out when I could check out these displays in person myself in my lab. So beyond the picture quality, Sony added a couple new high-end features to its QD-OLED display. The remote is all new, but the coolest thing is that there's a remote finder. So you can say, "Okay Google, find my remote," and it'll beep from under the couch cushions. First TV I've ever seen that has that genius feature, really cool. Another new feature on this TV is a webcam. Yes, it does ship with a little camera you can place on the top of the TV. Now, if you don't like that idea at all, you can take the camera off completely, disconnect it. But Sony says one of the advantages, besides obvious video chat apps and things like that using that camera, is that the camera actually helps the TV adjust picture quality. So for example, it can sample colors in the room, adjust the picture quality automatically. It can also turn off the TV automatically, for example, if you leave the room and forget to turn it off, and even turn it back on. So those are some cool little features that they add in addition to the webcam. So beyond those two new features of the remote finder and the camera, it's got a pretty standard Sony suite of features. Now that does include the acoustic surface audio technology. So yes, the screen is the speaker on this TV. That's a feature that no other manufacturer does, and it does supposedly increase the immersion of not having to have a speaker above or below the television. Of course, you can always add your own speaker system on a high-end TV like this. I would certainly recommend that. This TV also comes equipped with Google Television, so I'll show you right here. For streaming, Sony's been using Google TV for a while, and it's a really nice system. It's evolved. It's a lot quicker than it used to be. That was my main complaint with Google TV. It also has the Google Assistant built in, so you can speak into the remote or speak out into thin air using a keyword like OK Google to get the streaming service request that you want. And as you might expect from a flagship OLED TV, the A95K is fully equipped for gaming. So new for this year, Sony is giving variable refresh rate VRR compatibility out of the box, which is good news for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 owners. It also has 4K 120 input capability for high frame rate games that make them look a little bit smoother. So again, a very capable gaming TV right up there with the best on the market. So a quick tech aside, QD-OLED stands for quantum dot organic light emitting diode. So the difference is the layer of quantum dots added on top of the OLED display module. So the idea is quantum dots will amplify the light and also improve color. So you get that improvement for a wider color gamut, better color brightness compared to a color filter display used on previous OLEDs. Of course, you also get that great perfect black level. Sony says it's 0% black, looks like that in person to me. So, and the improved shadow detail, which is something that I didn't see in any of these demos, but again, that's one of the claimed improvements of QD-OLED. We'll see how that pans out. From the side, this TV is really slick looking. It's the OLED standard, very thin look. You can see Sony has a special stand here. It's designed to have an all-picture look from the front and really no stand at all. So you can kind of see it's all in the back here, the stand. You can actually flip the stand so that instead of being all in the back, it's all in the front, so it's kind of a reversible stand. I think a lot of people that are going to want to wall mount this television. So all things considered, this TV definitely looks better than the current generation OLED, which is already the best television I've ever seen. So yes, this could be the best TV ever. The real question though is price. So Sony has not announced pricing on this television yet. We'll find that out in a little bit, but it says it's shipping in spring. When that happens, there's going to be a 55 and a 65-inch version of that, so it's really not available in the wide range of screen sizes that the other OLED televisions are. They start at 42 and go all the way up to now there's a gigantic television, almost 100 inches now, that LG makes. So this TV, only in those two screen sizes, rumor has it that it's going to be $3,000 and $4,000 respectively, so that's $3,000 for the 55-inch, $4,000 for the 65-inch. Again, those prices are not confirmed. We'll see what Sony actually comes out at. But that's substantially higher, a couple grand more at least compared to a standard OLED television. So you can get a 55-inch OLED for as little as $1,000 on sale, and a 65-inch for, $1,500 to $2,000. Now again, those are the least expensive standard OLEDs out there, but that gives you a sense of how much more expensive this television is going to be. Now this is the first generation for QD-OLED, and that quantum dot OLED display is going to be manufactured by other people aside from Sony, starting with Samsung later this year. So we might see some competition, and again, the first generation is always going to be most expensive, but it's still a super promising technology. I'm pretty excited about it to check it out later when I get a full review sample in the lab a little bit later this spring. In the meantime, I've been here at Sony's lab for a quick look at the prototype QD-OLED display from Sony. This is the A95K series. I'm David Katzmeyer from CNET.